Hello, my people. Hola, mi gente. ¿Qué tal? I'm eating some chocolate covered raisins because they're yummy. Hope all you guys are doing well. I know I haven't been on here in a bit. Been kind of busy with the summer and vacation and all that good stuff, but I'm back. Hope all of you are doing well. For those of you that don't know me, I am Dr. Nicole Peak, a licensed psychologist based out of Colorado. So, as we had talked last time, with the coming of the warmer weather, at least here in Colorado, summertime can get people starting about working out more and bikinis and swimsuits and looking good, etc. And so we've been doing a series talking about issues with eating. So we've talked about set point weight, we've talked about the difference between disordered eating versus an eating disorder. And for those of you that don't know what I am talking about, I encourage you to look at those videos, those little sessions that we had to get some more information on that. Today, I want to talk about how undereating actually contributes to overeating. What? I often get that. How are those two related? See, so what happens is that when we have a tendency, well, most of the diets that are out there, right, have some form of restriction typically, right? The idea is that we want to, in essence, reduce calories, right? And so there's actually not eating, which we see in some diets. And there's also, or some kind of portion control or even elimination of whole food groups. And so what happens when we engage in not eating as much? Again, remember, our body kicks in, right? Again, if we think from an evolutionary perspective, times of feast or famine, when there's access to food, I'm going to eat it because I don't know when the next time I'm going to get it, right? And so that's kind of some of the things underlying our whole set point weight, right? Our body is fabulous, complicated, not complicated way of making sure that our body maintains at a weight that has it functioning at its optimal level, right? And so what happens when we undereat? People are like, okay, I'm following the diet, I'm gonna be good. But what happens inevitably, again, we talked about, right? In the short term, people can do that. But long term, we find that people inevitably fall off the wagon, right? Somebody in the office brings a bag of bread, or what have you. That's just an example, right? But inevitably, people fall off the wagon. And then what happens is people can easily fall into black and white thinking. And in this realm, we call it more like the dieting mentality, which is kind of like the all or none, right? It is very feast or famine, right? If I broke the rule, I might as well get it in because I'll start afresh tomorrow or later or what have you. And so it could be very all or none. So people fall off the wagon and then they feel guilty. And body image and things like that can kick in. And then they're like, okay, I got to get back on track. And so they then start engaging again in restriction and following their food rules. And again, they will fall off the wagon, engage in overeating, and round and round and round we go. And people can get stuck in this cycle of just restriction, overeating, restriction, overeating. So what do we do? How do we get past that, right? So first and foremost, usually when I'm working with folks, what I tell them is that we really want to emulate regular eating. The pattern of eating that we find in people that don't struggle with eating issues. And typically that is engaging in eating every 2 to 3 hours. So what does that look like? That looks like our 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and typically snacks, 2 to 3 snacks interspersed. So we would have maybe like a breakfast, mid-morning snack, a lunch, mid-afternoon snack, dinner, and maybe we would have an after-dinner snack. In that way, you're consistently eating every 2 to 3 hours, and you're not having that biological trigger of, oh my gosh, I haven't had food in several hours, and now I have to eat as much as possible because I don't know the next time I'm gonna get food, right? And so if you don't want to engage regularly in overeating, you got to eat enough. Usually when people are having binging, actually, like that becomes diagnostic, or just lots of episodes of overeating, typically we find that people are engaging then in undereating. And so that's where, again, we'll encourage you to try to simulate regular eating where you're eating every 2 to 3 hours. So if you don't want to be engaging in regularly in overeating, we got to make sure that we're eating enough, right? And let me just say, I mean, overeating and undereating is normal, meaning that people that don't struggle with eating disorders, for example, will have periods of time where they don't eat as much and periods of time where they overeat. That is normal and everybody experiences that. But again, if you're doing that regularly, if it's starting to get in the way of your day-to-day functioning, then that's when, maybe something to pay attention to. And if you're listening to this and you find yourself really struggling with food, and maybe can even identify with some of the other videos in this series. Again, I encourage you to get help. We have lots of great evidence-based interventions for people that struggle with eating issues. And again, the sooner you intervene, the better for you. Okay? So now you know, I am Dr. Peak, based out of Colorado, here to help you not just feel better, but to actually get better. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Adios.